Hey folks, you can now listen to Idioms on several podcast outlets. I'm on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Google Podcasts. Search Idioms David Dyer on any one of those and subscribe. And welcome to Idioms episode 17. I'm your host, David Dyer, and Idioms is my minicast. 5 minutes at the most. That's 4 minutes longer than the first And as the name implies, I talk about idioms, those phrases we use in everyday conversation that seem completely out of place, yet you know exactly what they mean by the way they're being used. Good, so let's go. This is Idioms episode 17, and the idiom we're going to cover today is, that gets my goat. You've heard it. I like this sweater because my Nana got it for me for Christmas, but every time I wear it to school, Jeff Clark calls me Patches, and boy does it get my goat. Literal meaning, to pick up somebody's goat because you're a good neighbor and they asked you to get their goat. Contextual meaning, to make someone annoyed or angry. So let's explore the origin. Well, hell may have frozen over because you won't believe this, but almost every resource I checked except one has basically the same origin story in this one. Of course, phrases.org.uk, our perennial party pooper, agrees on the origin, but pretentiously lets us Americans know that they will be searching for a different one and a more British-based theory than the one provided by us Yanks. This one, once again, comes from the world of horse racing. Now, I've noticed there are several of these popular idioms that have the roots in the world of horse racing, and many of them involve someone screwing someone over. Which makes me think that that world must be full of colorful characters who can put you in a trance with their elegant language and then poke you in the epiglottis with a riding crop while they steal the chunk bracelet your grandpa left you in his will. I just love the idea that my grandpa, a World War II vet, might have worn a chunk bracelet. Phrases.org.uk says that the first evidence of the term being used in print was in the Stevens Point Daily Journal in May 1909, when they printed a story about a burst pipe that read, "Wouldn't that get your goat? We'd been transferring the same water all night from the tub to the bowl and back again." First of all, hooray for finding its first use in print, and second, slow news day in Stevens Point when a burst pipe makes the papers. Ho hum. It took until 1924 for the phrase to show up in print in England in John Galsworthy's story called White Monkey, where he wrote, "That had got the chairman's goat. Got his goat? What expressions they use nowadays." Relax. America. You're welcome. Of course, phrases.org.uk also says the Times in London used the phrase a year later and used it to take a sideswipe at American tourists when they quoted one as saying, "These darn three-stirred things get my goat." You lost the war. Get over it. Now, Grammarist.com is the only source I found that throws us a curveball because they say the origin may come from old prison slang where the word goat meant to make someone angry or exasperated. So maybe it's related to this. Pretty weak. No. Finally, let's figure this one out, and good old Dictionarycom lays it out nicely for us. As I mentioned a few minutes back, most sources agree that the term comes from horse racing. And Dictionary.com agrees, and here's what they say. Horses are very social animals, and because of that, they love the company of other animals. So, racehorse owners would oftentimes put another animal in the stable with their horses the night before a race because the presence of a companion would calm them down, allowing them to perform and race better. And the animal usually used was a goat because they're small, manageable, and easy to travel with. Now, to counter that, other racehorse owners would send someone to steal their competitor's goat and therefore upset their horse, causing them to lose the race and probably all the owner's money and their marriages and push them into a life of poverty. Sounds like a movie called The Life of Nick Cage. But anyway, the act of stealing another's goat is where the term "get your goat" comes from. All of this over an animal that we now pay good money to have walk on our backs while we're in child's pose. So that's it. Episode 17 of Idioms is complete, and that's a wrap on getting your goat. I'm your host, David Dyer. Thanks for listening. Check back for new episodes every Tuesday and Friday, but until then, I'll catch you on the flip side.